The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 601. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She is the creator and host of the Dancepreneuing Studio podcast, and I'm really excited to have her on and share her story with us today on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Annett Bone. Annett, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to our listeners.
Hi, Sheena. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored and so excited to talk to you. And yes, I am a podcaster. I'm a marketing consultant. I'm a content creator. And the podcast was born out of my journey of transformation, going back into dance, and mostly about going back into dance. I do talk about life and business, but I returned to my first love of dance after a 20 plus year hiatus. And so I've learned quite a bit. It's been quite the journey. And more than anything, I want to prove that it's never too late to go back to your passions or to start something that you've always wanted to do.
Thanks for sharing that. And that's great that, you even though you were in a 20-year hiatus, you went back to it. And I think some people forget, just because you stop something doesn't mean you stop forever. Could be just for that time, but you can always go back to it. So thanks for sharing that. And Annett, what's your cultural background?
I'm half Chamorro on my dad's side, and then my mother is Korean. So I'm half Chamorro and half Korean.
Thanks for sharing that. And what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
I have so many, Sheena. It's hard to pick, especially if you're into self-development and self-growth. You hear so many things and things speak to you at different times. But one of my favorite ones is by someone named Talismanist. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. The last name is, or the second part of the name is Giebra. So it could be Giebra or Giebra. But the quote goes like this: "It's not about your wildest dreams coming true, but being able to dream the wildest side of you."
Thanks for sharing that great quote. And in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
I define self-confidence as validating and honoring yourself, which has taken me a very long time to do, and to admit that it's okay to do that. And self-confidence is about being aware of where you are, just as you are, knowing you are worthy without anything external to add to it.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. And, as women, especially as Asian women, it's so important to validate who we are, not, depending on external forces or outside forces or people. It's just knowing that we are more than enough. And that's once we can realize that, we can go out there and do the things that we want. So thanks for sharing that great definition. And Annett, what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
Oh my, it was very interesting. It was full of anxiety, full of regrets. When I wasn't dancing those 20 years, I was very much an overthinker, and I spent way too much time and energy in comparison and in worry, because I thought I had to, because I thought for some weird reason that, okay, if I put this mental energy into something like this, it's something good's going to happen. You can't expect something good to happen when you're worrying and putting all your mental energy into things like that don't make a difference. And I felt like I couldn't relax, or that I didn't deserve to experience things until I met certain parameters or certain conditions were met. I was very much about, okay, when this happens, then I can do this. If this happens, then I'm supposed to. So it was always conditional. And the sad thing is that a lot of the conditions I put on myself and that I allowed others to put on me didn't really make a positive difference. If anything, it made me more depressed and more anxious. And so I thought that my mistakes made me. I thought that I was forever doomed because I made mistakes. And hard to admit, I did succumb to a victim and a defeatist way of thinking, even though I thought I was doing the opposite. It was a very, very mixed up way of thinking, and it did not help me at all. So that's what happened before I discovered that self-confidence is more than just the external.
Thanks for sharing that. And I think that's something we've all gone through in our life, or especially the overthinking and the analysis paralysis, thinking that we have to get ready to, do the things that we want. It's like, I'll start a business once everything's in order, right? Or I'll start, my workout when, whatever event that you have, right? And not realizing like we can just start now and figure things out along the way. And, what was that point in your life when you realized that you were more than enough to go out there and, be the person that you are today? What was that aha moment?
I've had a bunch of different aha moments in the last couple of years, especially getting back to dance. That has been the catalyst for so many things, the podcast and the meeting the people that I've met and having the experiences. But the most helpful thing I would say, Sheena, in the last few years is being able to step back and come from a place of awareness and not judgment and asking myself appropriate questions for whatever that is. And one of the most important questions for me that just apply to so many things that has helped me so much is the question, what does this make possible? So going back to dance, I've auditioned for many things, and I would say 99% of the time I don't get what I'm auditioning for, and that's fine. And there was a point in my life before I stopped dancing and then during that time thinking, oh my gosh, I can't put myself through that again. I can't take the rejection. My self-image can't handle it. I all these things which made me quit in the first place. And so now it's like, okay, it just wasn't meant to be. I know what I need to work on. What else can I do? And so I don't get a part in a dance production, or I don't get chosen for whatever project. What does this make possible? Okay, it makes possible that there's something different for me. It makes possible that I have time to work on something else. So using my energy and my mindset toward positive things and for solutions as opposed to wallowing in self-pity because of this particular question has been huge for me.
Thanks for sharing that. And I love how you mentioned that, because when we feel like one door's closed, it's closed forever, not realizing when one door closes, there's like 10 other doors that are opening for you. And we just have to, be aware of it and just, take action on it. And because of your realizations, what's your life been like now?
Oh my goodness. I'm still thinking, wow, is this really happening? Am I really doing the things I'm doing? And not that it's perfect, but it's more fulfilling. I have more gratitude. And I think that's the hugest thing is, wow, there's so much internal growth that I've experienced that it's priceless. It's not about the external stuff, which it's been great to dance and to meet people and to have these different experiences, but it's that constant gratitude, even if I'm having a bad day, knowing that, okay, it's okay. And this is just going to pass. Before it would be like days and weeks and months of, oh my gosh, woe is me. That doesn't happen anymore. I feel like my senses are more alive. I'm more observant of things. I see possibility in so many things and people. I feel freedom. And this has been huge for me too, Sheena, is that I feel freedom that it's okay that everyone has their own journey and that mine doesn't have to look like someone else's. Someone else's doesn't have to look like mine. And we can all respect each other from where we come from and what we have to go through. And there was a period in my life that wasn't the case where, oh my goodness, if I don't do it like this person, my life is going to be horrible because they say so. So I allowed way too much of the external output from other people to define what I did and what I didn't do. Now I make my own decisions. I make my own, of course I take input from people that I trust and things that I invest in, but ultimately it comes down to my choice. And I love the fact that I can feel good in that. So that's what's been amazing as well.
Thanks for sharing that. And to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
Ooh, I would say that self-confidence is never an arrival point, but it's constant awareness without judgment. It comes from allowing yourself to experience and to evolve. And even through all that process, still honoring that you are valuable and that you are enough as it is.
Thanks for sharing those tips. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do or check out your podcast, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Yes, definitely. Thank you for asking. So my podcast is called The Dancepreneuring Studio. You can find me on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher Radio and all of the podcast directories. I'm very active on Instagram, and my handle is Annett Bone, ANNETTBONE. That's where you'll see a lot of the journey I've went through when I started dancing, what I'm doing now, and you can definitely see the difference. And before, I would be really scared about sharing all those things, but it's out there for people to see now. And then my website is AnnettBone.com.
Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Annett, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Annett's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I really just want to thank Annett for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Annett.
Thank you, Sheena. It's been such a pleasure to connect with you.
Not a problem. It was really great having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Get your free self-talk tape for building self-confidence by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.